Have you ever wondered how your golf swing might be different to that of a tour professional? Well, over this video series, we're going to give you those answers. My name is Chris Ryan. Thank you for joining me here at the Forest of Arden. And over the next 5 videos, we're going to look at some of the key movements within the body that directly relate to the golfer's ability. We're going to show you what we tend to see from the amateur golfer and also what we tend to see from the elite golfers that we see on the TV. We're going to be looking at how the hips move in the backswing. We're going to be looking at how you turn your shoulders in the backswing, how your hips move in the downswing, some elements around impact, and some key features of the follow-through position, which, as I say, will directly relate to your ability to play this game to a high level. Make sure you stay tuned for the whole series. Video 1 follows now. We're going to take a look at the hips and how they should move in the backswing. So welcome back to the Forest of Arden and welcome to this brand new video series where we're going to show you exactly how the amateur golfer is different to the professional golfer and exactly how they move differently. Therefore, if you can follow this 5 video series, you can start to make some positive changes to your golf game. I'm confident that you can start to hit the ball better, lower your scores, and just enjoy your time out on the golf course a little bit more. So in this particular video, we're going to be talking about the hips, and we're going to be showing you exactly how the amateur golfer moves their hips and exactly how an elite professional would move their hips. We're going to show you the differences, and then probably more important, we're going to give you a practical drill that you can use in practice, which is going to help you move a little bit more towards what the professional golfer does. So let's take our setup and let's go exactly into what we tend to see from the typical amateur golfer. So I've got my 7-iron here into this 15th hole, the par 3. And what we would tend to see from the high handicap golfer would be in the backswing, there is a lateral move of the hips or the pelvis away from the target, so away from the target this way. What we would tend to see from the elite golfer, the professional, is there would be a very, very slight movement, maybe some 2 to 3 inches, movement of the pelvis towards the target, so in the complete opposite direction. And the research shows us that if we look at the extreme movement to the right and the extreme movement to the left, we can basically plot the handicap along that line. So the more that you move to the right, we would tend to see that being the trait for the high handicapper, and the more that you move towards the better player movement, we'd see that give you the lower handicapper. Now, just a little disclaimer here, when we're talking about the hips moving towards the target, visibly from the face on, you wouldn't see them move in this direction. It's more because of where we take that measurement from. That measurement is taken from pretty much the tailbone. So you'll see that as I make my backswing, that tailbone does marginally move towards the target, yet you'll see from the face on view that it doesn't really appear to move towards the target. So in summary, the high handicap golfer tends to move the hips or the pelvis away from the target in the backswing. The high level golfer, the elite golfer, the professional that you see on TV tends to keep the hips a little bit more centered. When we actually measure that with 3D, we actually see the pelvis moving slightly towards the target. So now we know what the move is that we're talking about, let's give you some practical drills that you can do to help work on this. So I've got my alignment stick here and I've just got the head cover that I use on my Alignment Pro just on there because it makes it a little bit more visible for you, but also when I'm practicing, again, it makes it a little bit more visible. And if I take my standard setup with my 7-iron to this golf ball, you'll notice that I've got that alignment stick kind of just outside my trail hip, or pretty much where my pocket is. And I've tried to set this so it's pretty close. You can see that there's maybe a 1 centimetre, 1 inch gap there, but not really a huge amount. So if we were to set this little practice station up, based on what we've said already in the video, we would see the amateur golfer tending to move towards this and actually pushing against it. Whereas if we look at what that trail hip does relative to that alignment stick, the high-end golfer would tend to actually create a little bit of a gap or an increase of a gap between the alignment stick and their pocket. Notice how when I put a line on my lead hip isn't really moving towards the target. So this is going back to what we said before. If we measure that with 3D, that would show my hips or my pelvis moving slightly towards the target, but that's not a physical movement in my lead hip. It's more just because of the point that we're measuring this from. So a great little exercise for you to practice is to set something like this up, make a backswing and try to move your trail pocket away from the alignment stick. This is going to ensure that you're rotating your pelvis, but you're keeping it more centered, because keeping it more centered basically allows you to easier get into a delivery position where we can start to strike the ball consistently. You can imagine how if I have that golfer have that movement where I slide across this way, I can absolutely achieve a good impact, but I'm certainly going to make it more difficult for myself when I move my pelvis a few inches away from the target. Just another little point here to note, if you notice when I do this, my head position is not also moving towards the target. I'm still trying to feel like my head is moving, sorry, my head isn't moving, it's staying on top of the golf ball. If you make this movement in practice and stop at the top, I'd almost guarantee that the feeling you would have that your weight distribution is even between your lead foot and your trail foot, your 50-50. That is absolutely fine. I've done videos of this in the past, but we're not looking to shift your mass in the backswing. If you were to do this golf swing with motion, we would start to see a pressure shift towards the trail side and then a pressure shift towards the lead side. But as we move to the top and we stop, we don't necessarily feel a weight shift. What we do not want you to do is make this movement up to the top and then think to yourself, I feel like my weight is even, it should be on my trail side. That's how I get it on my trail side. This is not what we're looking for in the golf swing. So let's go ahead and see if I can hit a shot into this 15th. I've got myself set up here. There we go. And I'm just going to feel like in my backswing, my trail hip moves away from the alignment stick. That's going to move my pelvis correctly. It's going to help me strike this ball as I want to. Okay, not too bad. And you can see there, that's just probably just going to catch a little bit of the green on the right, but you can see how I've hit the ball and then the turf. And that's really the purpose of this little exercise, because if we can start to get you to move your pelvis better in the golf swing, it's going to elevate your strike. It's going to help you get that ball turf contact that so many golfers out there struggle to get, but so many golfers are striving to achieve. So make sure you use your pelvis like a professional, not like the amateur. It's definitely going to help you improve your strike. I really hope that video was helpful to you. I certainly think that's going to be the #1 stage to improving your game. Make sure you check back for obviously videos 2, 3, 4 and 5, where we're going to show you more of the movements in the golf swing that a professional tends to make. Thank you for watching. Usual stuff, as always, is down below. You've got a comments box down there, there's a like button, and over here, my logo, click that. That will allow you to be a free subscriber, and it just means you won't miss any of the upcoming videos. Thank you once again for watching. We shall hopefully see you back here again soon.